All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're tearing down and rebuilding everything you thought you knew about arguing using Mehdi Hasan's fantastic guide, Win Every Argument. We're going to get into the head of a master debater so you can become a master of persuasion.
You know that feeling, right? The argument's over, you're driving home, and your brain just won't stop replaying it. You're thinking, why didn't I say that? Or how did they twist my words around so easily? It's this awful sting that feels so much worse than just losing. It feels like you let yourself down.
Well, guess what? That feeling can stop today. We have this idea that the loudest person or the one with the most facts is always the one who wins. But honestly, that's a myth. Winning is a skill. It's a game. And this book is pretty much the instruction manual. It lays out the powerful and sometimes, kind of dark rules of debate that, let's be real, your opponent is probably already using against you.
So here's our game plan. We're going to break it all down into 5 key parts. First, the first punch. Then, dodging dirty tricks. After that, we'll get into the psychology of persuasion, followed by the champion's mindset, and we'll wrap it all up with the final question.
Okay, first up, the first punch. A debate, according to Mehdi Hasan, is a lot like a boxing match. And more often than not, it's won or lost in the first 30 seconds. So the key isn't just to start your argument, you have to launch it. Just look at the difference here. It's night and day. The weak opening is so defensive. It's full of words like, I think, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. That's the language of someone who's already lost. But that powerful opening, whoa, it's a bombshell. It instantly grabs control of the entire conversation. It defines the battlefield, and it forces your opponent to play on your turf. Another killer tool for your opening is the rule of 3. I don't know why, but the human brain just loves things in threes. It feels complete, it's satisfying, and it's super memorable. So when a CEO lays out a plan like this, it gives the whole argument this clear, powerful rhythm. It's way more effective than just rambling on and on.
But look, having a strong opening is only half the battle. You've got to be ready for the counterattack, and that usually means learning to dodge the dirty tricks your opponent is going to throw at you. These are what we call logical fallacies, basically dishonest tactics designed to completely derail the actual argument.
This one. This is the oldest, dirtiest trick in the book. You heard all the time. What do you know? You're always wrong about this stuff. See what they did? The second they attack you personally, they're just creating a smokescreen. Their goal is to put you on the defensive. Don't fall for it. The best move is to ignore the jab and calmly steer the conversation right back to the topic at hand.
And here's the ad hominem's sneaky little cousin, the straw man. Let's say you argue, we should probably invest more in public transportation. And they fire back with, so you want to ban all cars and force everyone onto crowded buses? What an attack on our freedom. They've built this ridiculous, twisted version of your point, a straw man, just so they can look good knocking it down.
And then you've got one of the most exhausting tactics to deal with, the gish gallop. This is when your opponent just machine guns a dozen half-truths and flat-out lies at you in a really short amount of time. The point isn't to be accurate, it's to overwhelm you. By the time you've debunked one of their lies, they've already fired off 10 more. The trick here is not to chase every single rabbit. Instead, you pick their weakest, most ridiculous point, tear it apart, and then call out the tactic itself for everyone to see.
Okay, so now we're going to shift gears from pure logic to something way more powerful. Because as Mehdi Hasan constantly reminds us, we humans are not creatures of logic. Nope. We are creatures of emotion, and our biggest decisions are almost always made with the heart, not just the head.
Think about it. Over 2,000 years ago, Aristotle figured this out. He laid out the 3 pillars of persuasion: logos, which is your logic; ethos, your credibility; and pathos, which is all about emotion. Now, most of us, we focus on logos, the facts, the data. But Hasan says that's a huge mistake. Pathos, emotion, is your greatest weapon. You don't just have to prove you're right, you have to make the audience feel that you're right.
So how do you tap into that emotion? One word: repetition. That's right, repetition. The human mind is wired to trust what's familiar. When Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I have a dream" 8 times in his speech, he wasn't just making a point. He was turning a phrase into an anthem, making it hypnotic, and just hammering it into the subconscious of an entire nation.
But you know, sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. We're all so afraid of silence, but a well-timed, controlled pause, it's a massive signal of confidence and authority. A little pause before you make a key point builds suspense. A pause after lets that point really sink in and hit hard. Barack Obama was an absolute master of this. His pauses made his words feel 10 times heavier.
And please, never ever underestimate the sharpest tool in your shed, humor. When Ronald Reagan was attacked for being too old, he didn't get defensive, he didn't get angry. He dropped this absolute gem of a line. The entire room just exploded with laughter. And with that one joke, he completely disarmed the attack and basically won over everyone watching.
All right, let's talk about what happens before you even open your mouth. We're getting into the mindset and the prep work of a real champion because honestly, most arguments are won or lost before they even officially begin.
Your body is speaking long before your mouth is. Think about it. When you feel confident, you expand, you take up space. When you're scared, you shrink. So stand tall, pull your shoulders back. That's called power posing for a reason. Use open, controlled hand gestures. It signals honesty and that you have nothing to hide. And maintain steady eye contact. It builds a connection and shows you are not intimidated.
And this brings us to one of the biggest secrets of winning arguments. The greatest debaters are not geniuses on stage. They're diligent researchers in the library. The perfect, witty, spontaneous comeback you see on TV, I guarantee you it's almost always the result of hours and hours of intense preparation. The real goal is to know your opponent's arguments even better than they do, so you have a counterattack ready for every single move they could possibly make.
And that brings us to the end, and really to the most important question in the entire book. You've learned the tactics, you've learned the psychology, the preparation. But why? Why do you want to win in the first place? What's the point?
It really comes down to two paths you can take. You could be the sophist, the person who argues just to feed their own ego, to prove other people wrong and feel smarter than them. Or you could be the philosopher warrior, the one who uses these skills for something bigger, to fight for the truth, to give a voice to the voiceless, and to try and build a better, more thoughtful world.
In the end, Mehdi Hasan's message is that these skills are a serious responsibility. Words can be weapons. They can be used for defense, or they can be used for destruction. How you choose to use them, well, that choice is